So I'm sitting here thinking about the difficulty of video games, and I'm thinking back in the day, all the way in the Nintendo era, when I used to play games like Castlevania and Kid Icarus and Ghouls and Goblins and just games and the original Mega Man. There were some games that were just really hard, and they were known for being kind of unfair. And you would get frustrated when you were a kid, but you would play them anyway. You would try, and you would have to jump over a chasm like 50,000 times before you got it right. And some bosses were just cheesy, and you had to fight them over and over again. And you felt triumphant when you won, and then sometimes you didn't win, and you put the game down for a long time. You came back, and you try to beat it later, and sometimes you won, and sometimes you didn't. And this was just kind of understood. I mean, we griped about it for sure, but it was just kind of understood that some certain games were going to be a lot harder than others and cheesy and fake, and that we're just going to get frustrated and probably never beat them. It was like inherent in the game design itself, and we just took it. If you from a certain era, you just took it and understood it, and that was the end of it. I like to think that games have gotten a lot more fair today. I'd say games maybe have gotten a lot easier in certain aspects. They've definitely gotten less cheesy for the most part, or they try to fix the glitches in games and things like that. But something has also happened to the players of video games, and I'm going to give you some quick examples. I used to love playing sports games when I was a kid. I used to play Double Dribble and Tecmo Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl and the NBA Jam, maybe Live, even the early Madden. I used to love those games, and I used to like the stats and all that, but they had a kind of an arcade pickup playability to them that I really liked, meaning if you wanted to become better at them, you could. You just played them and you got more skilled. But you could also challenge someone, or someone could challenge you that just picked up the game. If your friend came over and had played it, you can still have fun with that person because there was kind of an arcade style to them. And as games evolved and got better per se, you had to become more of a skilled player, especially into the PlayStation 2, 3, Xbox, and now into the modern day. Games like the Madden series and the 2K series and other sports games, you really have to be a very skilled player in order to challenge the computer on a certain level, or challenge other gamers online, or just your friends. And it's one of the reasons that I stopped playing sports games, is just I didn't play them as much anymore, and my friends would whoop my ass. Like, I can't even compete with them anymore. I can't pick up the game and just be like, okay, yeah, show me what the controls are. That does not happen anymore. If you're playing with someone who's been playing that game for years now, you are going to get your ass beat. And that's what happened. I got my ass beat. I'm like, all right, I guess I'm not playing these games anymore, just because, I don't play them like that. But I have been witness to many, many 2K and Madden arguments, specifically in person when the two people are playing there. And I always found it interesting, the comments that they would make after the game, especially after they lost the game or almost lost the game. They would say things like, why did that player miss that three? Or why did they step out of bounds? Or like, that didn't happen before. Like, this hasn't happened. And why that guy missed that layup? And they were almost baffled by what could have taken place. And I would just look at them sometimes and go like, yeah, I know you want the game to be consistent, and it mostly is, but it's programming. It's just the game. The game does that sometimes. And they would look at me like, what the hell are you talking about, Josh? And I'd be like, well, you don't know what's programmed into the game. Like, no matter how much control you think you have, at the end of the day, it's still like programming. It's still like ones and zeros. You're not like controlling an actual thing. Like anything can happen. You don't know what the programmers put into it. That is not an answer that a modern gamer wants to hear at all. Like, there seems to be this idea that things should always consistently be the way it is, but they kind of forget that it's a game sometimes, and you can't outsmart the programming no matter how hard you try. And I'm not saying that a game should be glitchy or inconsistent all the time, but thinking that that you can somehow control it more than you can seems to be a thing. Like, it's just like, at the end of the day, you still have to adhere to what the programmers put into the game. And I'm not immune to this either. I play Smash Brothers as much as I can. I love that game, and I use Ganondorf all the time. And I'm talking about Smash Brothers Melee. I still, in my mind, will perform a move thinking that it's going to hit, even though I performed it 10,000 times. And I know it's not going to hit that play no matter how hard I want it to. I still keep doing it over and over again like I'm a crazy person. And so I'm not immune to it either. And I think it's important that we kind of recall back to those early games, those early Atari and Nintendo games, and just remember that, sometimes the game's just the game, and it's going to be unfair. And no matter how evolved games get, or how good the graphics get, or how smart the AI gets, it's still just a game at the end of the day.